All right, let's dive in. Today, we're putting on our surgical gloves to perform a full clinical dissection of RX Queen. You know, the one, that hypnotic, deeply unsettling track from Deftones' absolute monster of an album, 2000's White Pony.
So, let's get right to it. What even is an RX Queen? This is the central mystery, right? We're going to start by unpacking that title, because honestly, the answer frames everything we're about to get into.
Okay, Section 1. A prescription for obsession. To really get this song, we've got to decode the name first. Think of it like a diagnosis for the whole story that's about to play out.
So, RX. You see this symbol everywhere, right? It's the universal sign for a medical prescription. It actually comes from the Latin word recipere, which means to take or to receive. And that right there is the key. The title immediately tells us the queen isn't just a partner or a lover. No, she is a required substance. She's a necessary dose that the narrator feels they have to take just to function.
And then you get this line, "Now help me pray for the death of everything new." Whoa. This really tells you what kind of prescription we're talking about here. It's not about getting better. It's not for health. It's for stasis. It's this desperate prayer to just freeze time, to create this infinite, unchanging loop so that nothing new can ever come along and disrupt this all-consuming addiction.
So what you're left with is this twisted dynamic. The relationship isn't about simple desire anymore. It's a full-blown compulsion. The cure has become its own illness. It's this pathological love that's both the sickness and the supposed treatment. It's just a totally closed, self-sustaining system of dependency.
All right, let's move on. Section 2. Engineering a fever dream. Because it's not just the lyrics, right? We need to look at how the music itself was engineered to feel like this fever dream. It's this masterful blend of the organic and the clinical, and it creates this incredibly pressurized atmosphere.
The producer, Terry Date, did something genius here. He created this incredibly claustrophobic, almost hermetically sealed soundscape, and he did it by layering the mix into 3 different planes. You've got the guitars way in the back, that's the fondo, or deep field, creating this ethereal shoegaze vibe. Then, right in the middle, the medio, you've got the bass and vocals, which is like the raw emotional heart of the track. And then, right up in your face, the frontal layer, is this dry, almost digital-sounding percussion, just providing this hypnotic, relentless pulse.
And every single band member brings something crucial to this sonic cocktail. You've got Stephen Carpenter's guitars, which are so watery and modulated, they just create this liquid texture. Abe Cunningham on drums is avoiding all the standard rock grooves, instead giving us this complex, trip-hop-inspired beat that's just mesmerizing. Underneath it all, Chai Cheng's heavy melodic bass is the anchor in this fluid rhythm. And then Frank Delgado sprinkles in these subtle electronic layers that add that clinical, atmospheric sheen. It's just a perfect fusion of metal, shoegaze, and trip-hop.
So, the end result, it's a sound that has this incredibly human soul, but with a synthetic, almost cold touch. It's like hearing a real heart beating inside of a machine. And that brilliantly mirrors the whole theme of the song, right? That tension between raw human passion and this cold mechanical dependency. The sound is the theme.
Okay, Section 3, Anatomy of a Toxic Love. This is where we get into the lyrical heart of the song. Let's really dissect these words, treating the powerful metaphors almost like symptoms of this beautiful shared sickness. So, the first symptom we can diagnose here, let's call it the sting. And what is it? It's this masochistic contract where any pain the partner inflicts is just accepted. It's an integral, even welcome part of the relationship. It's this willingness to accept damage as proof that the bond is intense.
And then you get the line that just spells it all out. 'Cause you're my girl, and that's all right. If you sting me, I won't mind. I mean, that is the explicit signature on this toxic contract, right there. The body's natural alarm system, a sting is supposed to be a warning, is just deliberately shut off. Pain isn't just tolerated, it's welcomed as a fundamental condition of their love. But then we get to the second and maybe the most crucial symptom of all, the virus. And this is a whole other level. This represents a shared pathology that starts as this grotesque source of nourishment and evolves until it becomes their fused, toxic identity. It's not just a sickness they have, it's a sickness that ultimately consumes them and becomes them.
Just listen to this. I'll steal a carcass for you, then feed off the virus. This is where that grotesque devotion is on full display. I mean, the narrator is offering to do something completely transgressive, something vile, steal a dead body,
all to prove that the relationship literally feeds on death and decay to keep itself going.
And you can actually see this pathology progress through 3 very clear stages in the lyrics. First, you have the nourishment stage, feed off the virus. Then it moves to corruption, you turn newborn baby blue. And finally, you get to total consumption. Now we're all the virus. They go from feeding on the sickness, to spreading it, to finally becoming the sickness itself.
And that line, newborn baby blue, it is just a devastatingly brilliant double meaning. On one hand, you have newborn, the color of innocence, but on the other, baby blue is the clinical term for cyanosis. It's the color a baby turns when it's suffocating, when it can't breathe. So in just 4 words, Chino collapses the idea of pure innocence into a medical emergency. It's this beautiful and absolutely horrifying image of love as asphyxiation.
Okay, Section 4, a ghostly collaboration. So at the very center of this whole illness, we have the human element, and it's brought to life by 2 completely distinct vocal performances that really define the entire track. So you have these 2 voices weaving together. First, there's Chino Moreno's lead vocal. It's so intimate, breathy, almost whispered at times. It pulls you in so close you feel like you're part of the obsession. And then you have the backing vocals from the late great Scott Weiland. His part is this harmonic, ghostly, ethereal layer. It's mixed low, so it doesn't feel like a duet at all. It feels more like a subconscious echo, like a voice inside your own head. And the craziest part? This legendary collaboration was a complete accident. It happened by pure chance. Scott Weiland was just recording in the same studio, he heard the track through the walls, liked what he heard, and just spontaneously went in and contributed these uncredited vocal layers. It's just an incredible, one-of-a-kind moment where 2 of the most distinctive voices in alternative rock history came together.
So let's talk legacy. Section 5, the contagion and its legacy. How did this musical virus spread, and what is the song's lasting impact on the landscape of modern rock?
You really can't overstate how important RX Queen is to the Deftones story. It is the pivotal track that marks their evolution. I mean, think about it. Their early stuff was much more of a raw, direct nu metal sound. Then in 2000, White Pony drops, and this is the opening track. It's a statement. It was the moment they deliberately pivoted from being a raw metal band to becoming the atmospheric, genre-bending art rock pioneers we know them as today.
And that huge risk they took, it paid off, big time. This experimental new direction was a massive success, both critically and commercially. White Pony eventually went platinum here in the United States, which just proved that audiences were absolutely ready, maybe even hungry, for this new, more complex sound.
And today, the song is still an absolute fan favorite, a true cornerstone of their entire discography. It's one of those essential deep cuts that perfectly captures an era, but it's more than just a time capsule. It's proven its enduring relevance by influencing countless bands in post-metal, alternative rock, you name it.
Which brings us back to our final thought. Is RX Queen a love song? Is it a horror story? Or is it a diagnosis? I think the song's lasting power, its true genius, lies in the fact that it's all 3. It lives in that ambiguity, and it forces us, even all these years later, to question the very nature of love and obsession, and to think about that razor-thin line that separates a cure from a poison.